Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to our channel, and today's video, which is a bit of a more vulnerable one for me, and a recent experience that I've had, a recent struggle, I'll say, that I've had that I wanted to bring to you guys, because usually when I have these situations, or what I've learned over the years and years of doing this work on myself, is that these struggles that I'm going through are rarely unique to me, even if it's my first time of seemingly coming across this struggle. But when something really hits home for me, when something really affects me, usually sharing it has this really beautiful positive domino effect, with starting with me feeling like it was just me going through this, but then you guys come out and you thank me for these most vulnerable videos because you were having the same experience of thinking, oh my gosh, is it just me? And feeling alone in this situation. And I've actually had a lot of people in my sphere recently say this phrase, and completely separate people. I'm talking about people like on the other side of the world, in Australia versus in the US, right? Completely unconnected, but this phrase, it's lonely at the top. I keep hearing doctors say this, and then I've seen it more and more on my social media connections as well. And I also saw a statistic in the last couple of weeks talking about loneliness in doctors, and I believe the statistic was something like 30 to 40% of doctors, I think higher on the 30% of senior doctors, experience loneliness in their jobs as physicians. And then the number was only slightly lower for junior doctors, so anybody who's not at the consultant or attending phase. So I'm hoping this video of me sharing my experience will be meaningful to you because of that, because a lot of us are feeling alone and lonely in our lives, and I argue that that is completely unnecessary. But our willingness to be vulnerable about what we're going through so that we can actually really connect with people, I think is a key piece. So with all that being said, let me go first, and please let me know if this video resonates with you at all. I would just love to connect with you. So my situation was, dear darling, our group coaching membership is finally open. We had our first call just last night, and that is why these gorgeous flowers exist from my best friend. And I just feel I feel so lucky to have seen and connected with this particular group of women. I feel so honored, humbled, and excited and determined to work with these women, to share this space with these women. And I'm feeling determined because connecting with them, I just know that in applying this work, we are going to change their whole world and make them more expressive and assertive and powerful, and feel more in control, feel more clarity, choice, and control in their life because of that. And that is going to make the world a better place for everyone. Not just them, of course, but everyone. The domino effect here of getting these good people into their power is enormous. So that is just the light of my life at the moment. I am just filled with absolute joy. And as you probably appreciate in life, these things that come with so much joy and amazingness, you know, like love, like relationships, these things that come with so much positivity also come with this flip side of the negative, if you like. The love and wonder and joy also comes part and parcel with the potential to, and I would say inevitability of, getting hurt, being hurt, and at the very least, at some point, feeling loss and experiencing grief, right? And I'm gonna do another video coming up soon on this balance of being willing to trade vulnerability, to give vulnerability, to receive really true, amazing, authentic, fulfilling connection experiences in your life, and particularly with other people. But today I want to talk about my experience in creating this program that to me is just my world. I am so sure that this is going to change the world, and so to me it means so much. It is a big deal to me, and I like it that way, that it's a big deal. And when you make something a big deal in your mind, in your experience, then you can also feel the stress and the distress, the struggle, the fears associated with that very strongly too. And that's what has been happening to me over the past couple of weeks, definitely intensely, but also the months before this as I've been bringing this to life. And I'm definitely not saying this was predominantly negative. I had the most amazing time bringing this to life. And also what's true is those stresses and distresses, those struggles came up. And in this video, I want to talk about me finding myself wanting to have a loved one, a particular loved one, see me and support me, recognize what I was doing, and even celebrate me during this time. And the hurt and disempowerment that wanting created. I became hurt and I ended up being disempowered at times from that wanting. And I was the one that suffered the negative effects of that. And I was the one that had to manage my mind around that and intervene on these behaviors that I was doing from that place that were actually acting against me as well. So not only did I have the hurt, that feeling of hurt to suffer with, to experience and feel and suffer with, but I also had these behaviors that were coming from those negative emotional states, those more unpleasant, uncomfortable emotions, and then the behaviors that flowed from that when I was acting out those emotions or when I was trying to escape those emotions and resist them, probably more importantly. So let me just say off the bat, I am not here recommending that you don't seek support from your loved ones. I'm not here recommending that you don't seek out them seeing you and what's important to you, their support, or even their celebration. I want you to have all those things ideally from anyone who you want them from. And also the point of this video is how that affected me when I didn't have those things, how I let that affect me and take control of me when I wasn't getting those things I wanted from this particular person. Because here's the thing, you will find a lot of advice on the internet that tells you how to ask for things the right way, how to get someone to do what you want them to do, how to get someone to see you, to support you, and to celebrate you. And I've been working on this stuff for a long time, guys. And I was doing all of the right things, you know, potentially, probably, no, let's say certainly not perfectly. It's very hard to get it perfect. What is perfect anyway? But I was doing a good job. I was certainly hitting that threshold of doing the right things that you would find professionals recommend in this space to do in order to ask for and receive the support and the celebration, or even just being seen. I communicated well over a long period of time, not just a once and done communication, but over a long period of time about how important this was to me. I spoke about the impact of this on me, both right now in the moment and in the future. I shared my thoughts about this from both a positive and celebratory place, but also from the place of how it was making me feel vulnerable and how it was hard for me, and the stress and distress that was sort of automatically provoking in my body that I then had to also be able to manage myself and be diligent with over this period of time so that I could keep showing up. I'm just rearranging myself, so I think I've just dropped now because my legs are going numb sitting here talking to you. New lesson learned from sitting on the floor. No, I think I can come back up. Okay, I'm back. And a second powerful thing that you can do in this situation beyond the direct communication is this sort of indirect communication, which is showing up as the example, being the example of how you would like to be treated, and being the example of the standard that you want to set. So that looks like A, treating the other person in this relationship how you would want to be treated. So for me, it's understandable that a lot of people don't actually understand exactly the details of what I'm doing. And that's the case for the physicians that I work with too. A lot of their loved ones who aren't physicians, this is a common challenge that comes up for physicians. A lot of physicians feel like their loved ones, the other people in their life who aren't in medicine, don't understand what exactly they're going through. And so they think that that's a reason that they can't empathize with them or see them or appreciate them, including appreciating their stress and distress. That's the it's lonely at the top sort of mentality, or it's just lonely wherever you're standing out or doing something different. It means less people will be able to understand the intricacies of what you do. So we could say that makes it harder to connect with other people. And yes, that's true. And also, I don't think that is completely prohibitive of having meaningful connections. I don't think we need to understand every intricate detail, every in and out of another person's specific situation to be able to empathize with them and connect with them, to see them. And as an example, in this relationship with this person, I had made an effort over time in places where they had interests that didn't overlap with my interests, which is always the case in every relationship. It doesn't matter whether it's your parent, your sibling, your partner, your friend. We're never going to have the same exact overlapping experiences. We are never going to absolutely understand the details of each other's lives or experiences completely. And so I don't want that to be prohibitive of us trying to seek being seen and understood and even appreciated and celebrated and supported by another person. Let's not set that impossible goal that means that we can never have those things. And instead, what I do in all of my relationships where I can see that there's something important to the other person, when I don't understand it, I seek to understand it to the best of my ability. And also, just the fact that they say it's important to them is a reason to me to pay attention. I don't need to be interested in the exact details, the content, the data of their situation, but instead what we can always relate to is the human experience behind it. And that's the actual bit that matters. It's not what happens in the world, it's not the details of the situation, who said what, whatever, but it's the effect that it had on us. And that's something we can always appreciate. So for example, if somebody's excited about something to do with a topic that I find so boring, if I care about that person, I care about the fact that it is lighting them up. And I will engage in that conversation because I care about them and I want them to be lit up. I want to appreciate and explore this state that they're in with them. And the details, understanding the exact details of the situation, are less relevant and certainly not prohibitive in terms of connecting with that person, seeing that person, supporting them where they want to be supported, and celebrating them where they want to be celebrated. So all of this to say, I had also shown up as an example in this relationship with this person as the way that I wanted us to treat each other. I'd done that for this other person, not once, but systematically done this for that other person. And so I'd also ticked that box in terms of doing all the right things. And here is one of the mindset coaching gifts that I want you to take away from this video. Even if you do all the best things, it doesn't mean you can control another person. Right? We've got to be very careful when we're using these strategies. And yes, these strategies are just good ingredients for a good relationship with anybody. This is a good way to show up in relationships with this high level of communication and also being the example, reciprocating how you want them to show up and even leading before they give you anything. Just for yourself, just to set that standard for this relationship that you have. These are excellent things to do. And also, all they do is give you the best shot at having this high quality relationship with this person. But they do not control them. They do not suddenly give you control over this person and how they show up and how they act towards you and how they treat you. And I really want you to take that home, because otherwise we can get stuck in this cycle of continuing to think, well, if it didn't work, if it didn't control them, then I must be doing it wrong. And no, that's not necessarily the equation that's correct there. Sometimes you can be doing everything right. You can be doing everything that creates the most opportunity for you, and still that other person won't be influenced by that because you do not have direct control over them. So I just want to start with relieving you and giving you the opportunity to jump out of that cycle of always feeling like you're the one who needs to change and you're the one who's not doing it right and you're the one who needs to do better if you're not able to influence the other person. It's just not the case. It's not how it works. We do these things for the opportunity. It's an error in understanding why we do these things and what these things are actually designed and capable of doing for us and these relationships. Now, I'm actually gonna end this video here, and I'm gonna make a second video talking about how I became disempowered with this cycle and how I was getting hurt, and then that was affecting the way that I was showing up. It was starting to control me. Me trying to control them or wanting to control them was starting to control me. So I'll talk about that in the next video, because I think there's actually already a lot to take on from this video and think about, and I don't want to give you too much at once such that you just kind of intellectually take it in but don't go and apply it in the world. So please take out a lesson, maybe even write it down, something from this video that was useful to you and that you want to actually change, integrate, or use. And I'll continue this story in the next video.